up a dive. Feel the vibe, get ready to ignite. Untold stories in the airways, flying through the night. Experience voices, tales so bold. Streaming live, the truth unfolds. Untold Radio Network, where secrets come alive. New episodes daily, the mysteries thrive. Great guests, super chat, it's so I remember I share and subscribe. Join the side where truth can't hide. Aliens in the attic, UFOs in the sky. Cryptids lurking, oh my, oh my. Ghosts in the hallway, whispering your name. The paranormal, the unexplained. Become a VIP, get the inside scoop. Unlock the mysteries, be part of the group. Live streaming stories, they're talking to you. Super chats buzzing, join the group. Untold Radio Network, the secrets come alive. New episodes daily, the mysteries thrive. Great guests, super chat, it's a wild member ride. Share and subscribe, join the side where truth can hide. So if you've got the guts and you want to explore, tune into the Untold, it's what you're looking for. From aliens to ghosts and all that's unseen. Untold Radio Network, where the world's mysteries convene.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Paranormal Spectrum here on the Untold Radio Network. Today's show is live. We are in studio today, not pre-recorded, so if you have any questions or comments for our guests or myself throughout the show, please throw them in the comments section and we'll get to them as soon as possible. Ladies and gentlemen, the Hairy Man of Dairyland, Wisconsin's Bigfoot documentary is out now from Cryptids, Anomalies, and the Paranormal Society. You can watch it on paranormal platforms such as Paraflix, Paranormal Plus, or on our Patreon page at Wisconsin Caps. Head on over and check that out. We are coming to you from the Chicago Paranormal Convention June 7th in Countryside, Illinois. Admission is only just $1 and free parking. You can't beat that in Chicago. It's going to be a great event. Lots of guest speakers and over 80 vendors at this event coming up in just a couple weeks here. Then, guys, just added to our calendar, we are going to be at the Big Muddy Monster Festival in Murfreesboro, Illinois on June 21st. I am going to be at the Lodi Public Library on June 30th and the Cedarburg Public Library here in Wisconsin on July 17th. We are doing a CE5 stargazing event looking for extraterrestrial activity and other weird things like that. This is going to be July 19th. Head on over to the Central Wisconsin CE5 on Facebook for all the details on that, or our public events page on wisconsincaps.com. After that, we head to UFO Days in Elmwood, Wisconsin, SilCon in Gaze, Illinois, the Van Meter Visitor Festival in Iowa, and a special presentation at the Neenah Public Library in October that will include a paranormal investigation of the library. And then, guys, just announced we are coming to Cape Girardeau, Missouri for CapCon 2026, April 17th through the 19th. And in Wisconsin, we will be at CapCon Wisconsin in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, May 8th through the 10th. So make sure you guys get all the information for that and mark your calendars. That's it. A lot of stuff coming up. All right, without any further ado, we are live and my guest is patiently waiting backstage. So please welcome to the show. Please welcome to the show. My guest, Tracy Searight, is an educator, yoga instructor, Reiki master, teacher, author, and the creative energy behind the podcast Ready, Set Reiki. She provides yoga and Reiki services with the Feather Sister Wellness and in person in El Paso, Texas area with her business Beep Beep the Yoga Jeep. Please welcome to the show, Tracy. Tracy, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Hi, welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Beep Beep the Yoga Jeep. Tell me about that, because that's where we're going to start with this.
Okay. Sounds great. So I have been living in El Paso, Texas for almost 3 years. I'm originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So driving around trying to find a space, the commercial property here is a little bit pricey. And I was in a yoga studio when I first came here, and she ran out of money after 6 months. And she wanted me to take over the lease, and it was just too pricey for yoga. And so as I was driving around, I noticed a lot. Soon and coming was food trucks. And I thought, I wonder if I could do something with this Jeep. And all of a sudden I heard beep, beep, the yoga Jeep, the yoga that comes to you. So I thought, I have this Jeep, might as well use it. So I put all my props from yoga mats to bolsters to blankets, and I come to you.
That is awesome. I love it. I love the name. It is very catchy. It is very good. Hopefully it does good business for you as well, because it's very entertaining.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I come to events and parties and, vending shows and things as well. So yeah, it's really taken off.
Very cool. Awesome. So you so tell us a little bit more about what all you do. So you do yoga, you do Reiki. What all is involved in your business?
So my heart began in teaching. So for the longest time, I always knew I wanted to be a teacher from a little girl. And when I was in kindergarten, I didn't have a very good kindergarten teacher. And I vowed then that I was going to grow up and I was going to be a really fun and entertaining teacher. And through time, and when I had the opportunity to come here to El Paso to be with my husband, he was stationed here with the military. I had an opportunity to kind of redirect my life. And I started doing yoga, started doing Reiki. And so my business is offering different styles of yoga. Believe it or not, there's multiple styles of yoga, from Hatha, Ashtanga. I even do laughter yoga, right? And I do kids. And then there's Reiki, lots of different systems of Reiki. So I am trained in about 12 different systems of Reiki. I also train as well. So I do yoga trainings, I do Reiki trainings, I do meditations, I do sound baths. So lots of different things all in one.
Awesome. That is a lot. Let's
Yeah.
start with you do yoga and Reiki for kids.
I do. About a couple years ago, a system called Kid Reiki was brought forward by 3 wonderful women, and I train with them with that. So I offer that too. I train teachers as well, so they can go out and work with children.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's something you don't really hear a lot about. Like, I do a lot of the metaphysical conventions and stuff, and yeah, you don't hear a lot about getting the younger people involved. And I did notice that we said at the beginning you were an author as well, and you actually have a coloring book of Reiki.
Yes, for Ready, Set Reiki. And it's just to kind of put it on the child's level, because it's a lot of information, especially when you deal with the history of Reiki. Many people believe that Azui Sensei was the first one to bring it, but there was actually Reiki systems prior to him connecting with the energy. So that tells a little bit of a story, and they can go in and get interactive with it.
Very cool. Well, let's start there. Tell us a little bit about what is the history of Reiki? Where does it come from? What is Reiki?
Well, Reiki is universal energy life force. There's a lot of misconceptions. So doing the podcast has allowed me the opportunity to interview many, many different people. And it just seems that misconceptions are always the same. Many people think it's woohoo. They don't think it is Christian. I believe in God. I pray. I grew up in the church. My mother is very religious, very Bible based. And so I personally modify my practice to be Christ-centered. Now, some don't, and that's fine. But it's bringing this energy, and you're working with a client or a student, and it's not you coming with a magic wand and healing them. It's them already having this, and they're raising back their vibration. So it's this universal energy life force. We all have things that happen in our lives that really weigh us down, and we really forget who we are. And that's just reminding them you have that power all along. The same thing as Dorothy when she clicked those shoes, right? You had the power all along. But many really connect Azui Sensei in 1922 when he went on Mount Corona to connect with that energy. But actually, prior to him, there was a doctor in 1919 who had a book about Reiki Rahiho. Many believe that Reiki has been around since the beginning of time. Many believe that the disappearance in the Bible of Jesus for several years, that he went off to India to study the mystic arts. So it just depends on really what you believe. Holy Fire Reiki, the manual, The Healing Touch, does an excellent job in providing really concrete evidence to say this is the paper trail of where we can go back to say this is it. This is where we believe it began, and they can back it up through information from the Gakkai. And through that, in time, many people become Reiki masters. And if they feel it's just not right, or they feel that calling, they're able to go and create their own systems. And now we have dozens upon dozens and dozens of systems, everything from, Azui to Corona to Holy Fire to kids to crystal to animal. It goes on and on and on. There's Celtic Reiki, Rainbow Reiki. It just find you're just right with that. So if that doesn't resonate with you, know there's other systems out there that may be perfect for you. So for me, Animal Reiki was perfect. I'm an animal communicator. I have 6 Cavalier King Charles. I've always been an animal lover. So that resonated with me. Kid Reiki resonated with me. Crystal Reiki resonated with me. So it's all a part of the process and kind of going on this journey of learning and expanding and growing.
Absolutely. Very cool. Yeah, I have heard before, like some people talk about, you said that Jesus went off to study it as well. And some believe that he used Reiki that's how he healed people and did that as well.
Sure. Yeah. And I've had people that have reached out and said, "Oh, I'm going to pray for you." I'm like, "Great, wonderful. Pray for me. I'll pray for you too." And they have that misconception that this is looking at the Japanese kanji. Well, this is not Christian, but you can make it your own. You can bring prayer in. It's with your intention, really. And the same thing of when Jesus walked on the earth, right? Laying hands. You don't have to lay hands. Some people can do Reiki sessions without laying a finger on somebody. And the Holy Fire is a great way to do that as well. You bring in meditation, things like that with the experience. But once you become a level 2, you get a symbol that's a oneness or distance symbol, and that allows you to send Reiki to the past, to the present, to the future, to heaven. So, and it's the same way when we pray, right? That same energy when we wish upon a star, or we wish upon that penny and throw it into the well.
All kind of based on intention and intent.
Intention. That's the fuel that drives it there. And it never does any harm. So people think like, oh, it's woohoo, it's this, it's that. But it can come back to you. So as a practitioner, we have that ethics that we want your highest good. So it's all good things. And if someone, and Reiki respects free will. So if it's something like, I know my mother would not want Reiki, and I just said, you know what, either send it to her higher self or send it to the earth, send it back up to heaven, and so be it. She'll accept prayers, but not Reiki. And she's same way with the yoga. She doesn't like the yoga either. So.
Interesting. Interesting. So, like, yeah, Texas seems to be, well, the lower part is the very like Bible Belt and stuff. So I've never come across that like before with a lot of pushback on Reiki, but
Mhm,
I've
mhm.
never heard anybody, on my show or anything talk about it. I don't know.
Right.
Interesting.
Right, right. Well, I mean, you can be at an event. It just depends on the audience. And like
Oh
I
yeah.
was at a spa event and the woman comes over and she goes, "Oh yeah, I don't do that. I don't do that." And it's like, okay, that's
Mhm,
fine. It respects free will. All right.
mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've definitely had those people come up.
Yeah.
My team does everything from UFOs, paranormal,
Mhm.
Bigfoot, all that stuff, and
Yeah.
it'll rub somebody the wrong way no matter where you go.
Yeah.
But it's just
Yeah,
like,
and it's
okay.
the same thing with yoga too, because yoga's rooted in Hindu. So my mother was against that too, you know. And when you do certain asanas, that's in celebration of a deity. So
Hmm.
I even conformed my yoga practice where I cut that out. So I thought, okay, I'll do yin yoga where I don't have to do those particular standing asanas. And she's like, yeah, that doesn't work either. I even took Christian yoga and she's like, I don't see how saying some Bible verses makes it any better. So it just depends on the individual and their beliefs.
That's really interesting. I wanted to spend more time with the Reiki. We'll come back to this
Okay.
because
Okay.
so I didn't know that there was any kind of religious connotations or anything to yoga.
Hmm. Well, I mean, it's from India. So, that's kind of where the misconception is. And so if you dig a deep down hole into it, you'll see that many people kind of have that confusion with it as well. But that's the lineage of it. I mean, it's just celebrating the deities in there with it. So like Warrior One, Warrior Two, that's a whole movement with it. Yeah. And even like the sound bowls, my mom called them demon bowls. So
Hmm, yeah.
yeah.
That's really interesting. I've taken yoga, I've taken
Mhm,
tai chi,
mhm,
um, something else. I don't know. We did I had charter school at my high school, and we did all like theater and drawing and art and stuff like that. And part of those we could do yoga and tai
mhm,
chi and something else. I'm missing one in there, but I did take yoga and tai chi, and I
mhm,
really liked those
mhm.
because the tai chi was very meditative and very like grounding, and I don't know, just made you feel like tingly or good or whatever because you're balancing stuff. And
Mhm.
I wasn't really into all the metaphysical and stuff back then, but it was really interesting. But
Yeah, I mean, that's why I came to it, because it was kind of a yoking of the mind, body, and soul, and to get grounded and to help me off the mat, that I'm not like easily triggered. And when emotions come up, it can help me navigate through it. So her perspective, my mother's, I didn't agree with. But the Yoga Sutras of Palanjani, it's an interesting part in there where it's like the locks, the keys of happiness. And one of the locks is when you have a very virtuous person, instead of engaging in the argument, I just turn around and say, you know what, I really admire your devotion. Like I really am impressed at how devoted you are, because there's no changing our mind.
mhm. There's we won't call anyone out here, but there's another podcast host that's famous for whenever they have a guest on and they don't agree with them, they go, "Well, you might be right," and then they move on. So that's
Very good.
very the same thing right there. Yeah, well,
Sure, sure.
you might
Well,
be
there,
right. Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm. Interesting. Techno Shaman says they call them singing bowls over in the UK. You were talking about the demon bowl there, yeah.
Sound bowls. Well, I don't call them that. We're calling, yeah, sound bowls. Yep, that's what we do as well. But that was my mother's little nickname. So
Wow, those are really cool. I've been looking into getting some of them, and I noticed like each one is a different
mhm.
vibrational tone and such.
Yes,
And
different hertz. Yes, yes.
yeah, I haven't decided which one I need or anything yet. So
Sure, sure. You can go into the crystal, you can go into Tibetan. There's so many options, but it is an investment, that's for sure.
mhm. I have a whole like the glasses, the wine glasses where you put your
Oh,
finger on
yeah,
it. Yeah. Have a whole thing, play a song on them. Yeah.
beautiful.
That's really interesting. Let's talk about that. You talked about also doing like sound baths
Mhm.
with your yoga and Reiki and stuff. And tell us more. Like, I obviously we have the singing bowls that go with that. What else do you use as kind of a can you explain why you do sound with this, and then as well as the different methods that you use?
It depends on what class. So I can do a sound bath as a standing one. I can bring it into a yoga practice. I often merge them with yoga nidra. No, yoga nidra is the yogic sleep, and you're guided through this meditative journey that kind of awakens the mind, and it helps you get down to the brain waves, all the way down to that theta brainwave. But things that I bring in are the sound bowls, the Koshi chimes. I bring in tuning forks. I bring in rain sticks. So it's a variety of things. And I'm also a trauma-informed teacher. So sometimes certain things can trigger someone, certain noises. I had bought these little chimes, and they reminded me, and this is really going to age me, when you listen to the record and it was time to turn the page and you would hear the little chimes to turn the page. And I got those and I went and I played it for my husband. He says, those are the worst sounds I ever heard. So obviously that would not be a great one to put in for the sound bath. I also have a gong as well that I hit, but I use them through that to have a purpose, whether either it's working on a particular chakra on the body or to get a certain kind of vibration to help with the experience. And the idea is to kind of get that perfect fit to bring in harmony so that it isn't relaxing for the client or the student. So it's a lot of fun and relaxing. And we have here in El Paso, it's starting to take off the floating sound baths where you're floating on the raft in the pool. So that's starting to take off as well.
Interesting. Yeah, we have float light here in my area, and they do like the sensory deprivation tanks, and you can go in there, and then they've started. I want to say now they have the sound bath as well with that, which is really interesting. I haven't gotten to do that. I was actually just thinking about that last night again, but I have not. Techno Shaman has another question here. I think this is a question. If you ring the bowl and move the bowl as it's ringing around the auric field, up and down and around a person without touching, if everything is good and fine, it will ring nice harmonic without changing. If there's a fault with you or a hole in the auric field, it will alter the sound. Have you found this to be the case yourself? Question mark. You are on mute.
I am in agreement with everything he's saying. Isn't that magical? Didn't even touch anything.
We were having that discussion before the show that technology just doesn't want to work over here. So,
So here is a sound bowl here, and I often tell people, if you hit it and it doesn't sound right, it's probably, you need to move it. It could be the energy. Don't blame it on yourself. So just by hitting it and moving it around, say like in a figure 8, up and down, that definitely will change it. Also, like I would hold it in my palm, and I'm wearing a ring and it would pick up that as well. So I would take my ring off when I would hit it, and you would invite the person to follow the sound to silence as you would hit it. So this is the Tibetan bowl. If I had the crystal bowl, I have it in the other room, I could tap it and move it in a way as well. And you can put these on people as well. Like they can put it on their belly. You can put it between their legs. You can put it on their back. You can actually put hot water in it and hit it as well. So there's lots of different techniques that you can use. So I believe there's probably at least 60 techniques I can use.
Wow. That's awesome. So tell me a little bit more about this, because this is really interesting. Like if you ring it and like move it around a person, the sound will change based on like problems with their field.
Yeah, it can change subtly as well. So say like I want to come in and clear a space, so I'll do house blessings, house clearings, things like that. I can use this to help with that, shift the energy as well. When I want to clear a crystal or something, I can put it in here and hit it as well. So you can use this in various ways for things as well. So just to even reset the energy in a space, to hit it. When I would come in the morning to the yoga studio, I would hit the gong, and you could feel the shift in it. So music is, I believe, that universal language with everybody, is that connection. So working with the frequencies, I believe, really helps deepen it and changes and shifts things.
Absolutely. We've heard about like the Tibetans that go into certain caves and stuff, and the caves are designed or sculpted or however they're made to create a certain harmonic frequency that when they harmonize and stuff in them, it'll vibrate at those different tones and levels, very similar to the harmonic frequencies of the bowls.
Right. Yeah. And so like if you come into a space and the energy doesn't feel right, you can try ringing a bell, clapping your hands, singing, humming. That can help change the energy as well.
Absolutely. Interesting. So when you do your clearings and stuff like that, is there a certain frequency bowl that you use the most, or do you do a different one based on what you're trying to accomplish, I guess?
I use a different one based on it. So I begin with prayer and just asking, what needs to be done. And that's one of the things in Reiki. You have pillars, you have the Gashi Ho, where you're sending that intent. Then you have the Raji Ho, where you're surrendering to the divine and asking for that guidance. And so that's what I do. I ask for that. What do I need to use? What's going to help here? And then I'll pick that bowl based on it. And it's usually interesting when I pick for a client and we go through a session, it ends up being exactly the one that they need. So like if I have an orange bowl, and that would say be the sacral chakra, which is 2 finger widths under the belly button. That's where you're feeling your joy, your pleasure is. And maybe someone came in and said, I feel really down, and I'm not feeling very attractive or unhappy. Then that would be the bowl that you could bring in to help raise that vibration. So it's helping you get it back up. I believe we're all born with a certain vibration. And as we go through life, we get knocked down, and then, we're just kind of depleted, and someone coming in and giving that lifeline to help them climb back up like a ladder to get them back to their true authentic self.
Interesting. So when you purchase these bowls, how do you buy them? Do they tell you what the frequency is? Like if you want a certain bowl, do you buy it by the width, the diameter? Do you buy it by the tone? How do you know which bowl you're getting?
There's a great website that sells bowls, and you can play it and hear it and hear if it resonates with you. But the way that I bought mine, I bought them as sets. Like when I first began, I found something on Amazon and I bought a set, and I thought, this isn't going to work. These are like ripoffs. And then I, with time, really invested in a really nice set. I have since passed that set on to someone else who's just beginning. And I thought, what, this is a good one for you to play with, to get the feel of it, to see if this is something you want to do before you make that big investment, because some of these bowls are very, very pricey, in the hundreds, if not thousands for them. So it's an investment. If it's something that you're not going to utilize frequently, then, maybe it's not, for you to really invest in. But if you are passionate about it and, you have the income, of course.
Actually,
Yeah.
But they don't actually like, I don't know what I want to say. Like they don't have, like all the 3-inch bowls are this frequency, all the 2-inch are this.
Like in this one, if you can see, I put a sticker in it. It's the G note. So you can pick by the note, you can pick by the frequency, you can pick about the size. So there's lots of different options. So this is one of my more expensive sets. Some of the bowls I have are several $100s. And originally I thought, I'm going to get a whole white set. And I was trying to remember the notes on it. I'm like, because you want to get that perfect fit, because it sounds, when you tap an A bowl next to a B bowl, that's not going to sound good. You have to jump a note. So A and C would sound great together, but D and E wouldn't sound great together. So as I had all white, how am I remembering this without putting a sticker or something? Then I got smart and I said, I'll just buy the colors. So that way I can hit the colors. But there's many beautiful things, one, go with what resonates with you. If you can hold it, listen to it. You'll find a lot of knockoffs on Amazon, but that's just what it is. But that's a great one to kind of start with. I know Temu sells them as well. I use that with the kids so that they can bang it. But those crystal bowls are super sensitive. Be sure with packing. I had one, I was doing a sound bath. My dog came in, wagged his tail, and it shattered the sound bowl. And it's just like, oh my goodness.
Interesting. Yeah. That's more what I was thinking, like what's the note stuff to it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's all different sizes. I mean, you can absolutely go down the rabbit hole with different sizes and designs, and absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's sound bowls you can stand in.
Ooh.
Stand in them and they hit them. Like I can put this on my head and on a client and hit it. So yeah.
Also good for unruly clients. You just
exactly
balance yourself. Dong. All right. Let's see. Dr. Reverend Tracy Cox is in our audience today. Hey guys, looking good. There we go. We were discussing you as a mutual friend before the show. Thank you for being here. Techno Shaman also said you can even use tuning forks. So you had mentioned that earlier as well, but like, so with the same thing as, checking balance and stuff, would you use the same for like a tuning fork and check their balance and stuff that way, like move it around in that?
Absolutely. There's different frequencies for that. There's using the different chakras. Yes. Even just hitting it and listening it to the ear here really can change things as well. Yeah, absolutely. Lots of wonderful tools.
Tracy is right. There's something in music theory called the circle of fifths. This is a great way to select correct notes and sound.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, he's right on the money with this. There's so many people that take a weekend class that, go online, and I'm not shooting down anything online. There's amazing resources online. You really should have that music theory background and take time with this, because frequencies do affect people. I've had students that'll be like, oh my goodness, my teeth are hurting, or I felt this, or I got a headache. And that comes back to that trauma-informed teacher, because you want to do what's best for the client and the student. And it can really affect someone, just like me hitting that little chime that my husband's like, oh my goodness, I can't, it bothered him in such a way. You just figure like certain noises really irk people and get them upset and work them up. I think there's that talk now of that frequency of instruments tuned to 440 hertz. I don't know if you heard that about how it was connected to the Germans with things for propaganda. So that's also interesting with that, but he is correct. And many of them don't pick that up in a weekend class, or a 2-week class. I interviewed a woman, and she said that her program lasts a few years. And she said her students are like, but they graduated in a weekend. She says, yeah, that's great, but you're actually learning it the way it's supposed to be learned. So yeah, take the time with it and know the notes. Too many people are taking it and they're whacking it and hitting it and they're cracking it. And yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I want to talk a little bit about binaural beats, because that's something that's really interesting as well. Like I've used it, and basically you take 2 different frequencies, one in each headphone ear usually, and what it does is your brain can't handle it, so it levels it out at the middle note of that, and you can use it for like relaxation or focus and stuff like that. And you want to talk a little more about that?
I use that primarily for yoga nidra. So that helps the students and clients get to a relaxive state. We're starting in that one brainwave as we slowly come down. So I use that just to play in the space to help them get relaxed. And I've used it myself. I've been in classes as a student and found it to be very relaxing.
Technoshop. I'm trying to read this real quick. I'm a physical medium and used to tech and development folks in real circles on the ordination skills, and I also do techno shamanism, doing ITC ceremonial magic. I can't read.
Yeah. Sounds like he needs to be on Ready, Set Reiki.
Very cool.
Beautiful. And see, this just shows you how, limitless this is, that you can just go and do these amazing and wonderful things. And that right client's going to come to him and he's going to offer exactly what he needs. So this is really just this evolution of amazing modalities that have come into place. So bravo to that.
Absolutely. Well, let us we spent some time here on these singing bowls, and I love that. That's very interesting. I've learned so much about these things now. So
Sure.
let's go back to talking about your Reiki, because you have a couple books here that I wanted to talk about that I've always learned of Reiki and stuff, like you said, with energy and keeping your whole body and yourself in balance. And you have a couple books here about Reiki money and the energy of abundance and prosperity.
Yes.
So tell us how Reiki can be used to bring abundance into your life. How can you use that to channel your goals and aspirations?
Well, if you have started, so to do money Reiki, you need a baseline. So I always say a Zui or a Zui Tibetan is a baseline, but it can be any system as long as you have that level 2 symbol. So money Reiki is a specialty, just like I went to school for teaching, but my major was in elementary education. And so this is the same thing. As you get out there, you can, if you choose, get a specialty like money Reiki. Now, do you need to get it? Of course not. If you choose to, wonderful. And so money Reiki goes a little bit deeper. It shows you some different techniques that you can do with money. So this energy of abundance and prosperity, you use the currencies symbols as your symbols. You're using symbols of abundance and prosperity. So an idea would be to take that physical money, and as you hold the money, clear it of anything. We don't know where that dollar bill has been. What has that dollar bill been used for? It could be used for something wonderful, like giving it in a card to someone's baptism or birthday, but it also could be used to buy something shady. So we want to clear that energy, because many people have this idea that money is the root of all evil. Now, it does amazing things, but it also does very harmful and damaging things. It can bring the best out of people. It can bring the worst out of people. So we clear that money, and then we put the symbol on it, and then we put a blessing on it, and that blessing can be anything that you want. May this person who touches this have an amazing day. May their life lessons be done with grace and ease and harm to none. And then you bring it another step further. Maybe you have a gas bill or a credit card bill or a tax bill, and now you're angry. Oh, I don't want to deal with this. They make me so mad. They're ripping me off. That's when you settle yourself down with the techniques and then bless that, because someone at that business, at that gas company, has to open that check or take care of that transaction. They have a family, they have a life. They don't need that negative energy on them as well. And so anytime you make any transaction, you want to do this daily to keep your body and mind calm, and it's being positive. So one of the affirmations is, I am a money magnet. Despite my circumstances, I am a money magnet. Bringing that in maybe a couple times a day. So it's like you taking a vitamin. You're not sick now, but you want to take that as a preventative. So by you getting into this, so when the big things happen, like 13 days before my house closing, my air conditioner died before the sale of my house, instead of me going hysterical, crazy, yelling, I get to a point, I'm an even Steven. What I put out will be coming back to me. And then I'm calm, and then I'm able to move forward so that I can problem solve in a way. What am I going to do? I'm not going to be able to get somebody out 13 days to get this fixed. Okay, I guess I'll give them a credit. So it keeps us calm. So the blood pressure doesn't go up. We don't get headaches. We don't make ourselves physically sick. So it's a way, because money makes the world go round. This is something we cannot avoid. So learning how to be friends with it, to get along with it, to see it as a tool to get you what you need to do. Maybe as a child, your parents were always arguing about money. Family can intentionally or unintentionally place these things about money on you. And it's trying to wipe away these misconceptions, these culturally created self, so that you're able to navigate forward in a positive way. So that's in a nutshell with money Reiki. And it gives you a lot of different techniques from, manifesting, and it works with kids as well. I use like the chocolate coins with the kids, and they said, I'm a money magnet, and they can eat the coin just to show you are of value, you're worthy. It also has many affirmations that you can use in it so that you can kind of get yourself, charged up with this. Yes, I am a money magnet, because you want to believe that, you don't want this victim mentality, like, why me? And I'm always having this happen. It's changing the way you're looking at things. I'm going to look at it as a positive way. There's abundance and prosperity all around me, and I deserve it too. Many people don't believe that they're blocking themselves from actually the riches. Maybe someone said, I'm not deserving of being a millionaire, or maybe they're embarrassed that they make a good income because someone else in their family doesn't. Many people aren't forthcoming with money. They get embarrassed, even saying like, hey, how much you make? And they back away. They're like, oh, I don't want to tell you that. So this changes your attitude from it.
That's awesome. That is really interesting. That really brings around the whole, we talk about like the holistic approach to this, like your whole body, like everything you do is tied to this energy and keeping it up. And it's,
Correct.
and that's a lot of work. How do you help people understand like that? I mean, just listening to this, like, this seems like, wears you out, because you're constantly having to keep that higher vibration, and like you said, remaining positive. And
Sure.
How do you help people understand to keep that high vibration? What do you recommend?
By just practicing every day. It's a practice. And again, it's not a test, it's a practice. I'm human too. Jesus was human too. So there's going to be setbacks with things. So not to say that I wasn't upset when the air conditioner went out. I mean, we had one thing after another at our house. And I think finally it was the day before closing. And I think the lawn had grown a little bit because it was in Pennsylvania. The house was there. We're in Texas. And I think they had asked if the lawn was going to be mowed. And I think that was it at that point, after, hundreds of dollars and all this credit. I think that was it. And I had to really breathe. We're human. Things get overwhelming. We have challenges. We have upsetting news. There's something, but are we going to allow that one thing to wreck our day? So by having those tools in place where, okay, I'm getting upset again, just sit, whether it's praying, whether it's saying an affirmation. And it's not saying to get to this higher hummingbird level, right, of vibrating here, but it's just helping you, okay, let's stay a little bit calm. There has to be a solution here, where you're not turning around and blowing up at your partner or your spouse because you had a bad day, or the transmission went on in the car, or now someone hit your car, or you hit somebody's car. It's not kind of getting you in a state where it's so upsetting and devastating, to know that, hey, we'll get through this too. This too shall pass.
Absolutely. That's very good advice too. Like, I mean, like, it just seems overwhelming, but like you said, if you work at it, no one's perfect. We got to do it every day. And
I mean, money's overwhelming. I mean, a lot of people they either hate it, they love it, they're triggered by it. They're like, oh my goodness, like, now what? One thing after another. Like, as soon as you get up in the morning, you're spending money through your day. And then when you get at night, oh my goodness, look what I've done. I had to buy food, you had to buy gas, and it adds up, and the credit card debt. And then people that go through college and they have the student loans, and now they're getting out, and we live in a world where it's really tough. Things are, soaring in price. And so this is another tool. Could it be the complete 100 answer? Maybe not, but it's something, if it resonated with you, could work. But again, it goes back to, you have to be consistent with things. It can be maybe a bippity boppity boo, but we've seen miracles happen, but putting the work in. Yeah.
Absolutely. We are live on today's show, so we have several people watching us live as we go through this. If you have any questions for Tracy as we go through the show, throw them in the comments section and we will get to them as soon as we can. So kind of transitioning a little bit here, you have another book out here as well. If you want to kind of talk about this and a little bit of the history and everything that goes along with that.
Sure. So I used to live in a little, I guess, borough called Delmont, and Delmont means valley in the hills. So I had lived there for several years, and I had an opportunity to write, it's like a table, coffee table book, The History of Salem Township in Delmont. So Images of America is a type of book that it's the same type of format through and through. So you have your new and old, you have a little bit of the history, you have modern day things, and this is the one in my time in Delmont that talks about the history up to, gosh, when did I publish that? Probably like 2012 maybe for that. So that was the little book that I did when I lived in Delmont.
And you said that this was your little gateway to the world of television, huh?
Yes. So I had this book out and I received a message. I thought at first it was fake. They reached out and said, hey, like, we're Dr. Phil's producers. And they're working on a show for the Travel Channel, and it's called The Dead Files. And I kind of blew it off. I'm like, okay. And then it circled back around again, like, hey, like, we would like to meet you. We're coming to Pittsburgh and we'd like to have a lunch with you. And I'm like, okay. And they were looking at Delmont, and they weren't finding a whole lot until I told them, hey, Delmont's had like multiple names. So look under New Salem, Salem Township, and then the floodgates opened and they were able to find a lot of information. And as they were getting the information for the show, they reached out again and asked if I would like to be on the show as the historian. And I was talking about a particular woman and her background in the town because it was believed that she was the one that was doing the paranormal activity in the family's home.
Interesting. So where is Salem Township and Delmont?
Salem, well, Western Pennsylvania. So Western Pennsylvania, Salem Township, and Delmont is the little borough in there. So we have Murraysville, we have Export, and we have Delmont. Very, very tiny little place that you can drive through along Route 66.
Interesting. I think that everyone's kind of mind when you hear Salem, we all just jump to Salem, Massachusetts.
Exactly. And that's kind of, it was New Salem, yeah, at first, New Salem Township that they had named it after. And it was actually the pharmacist slash postmaster of the town that decided to name it Delmont, meaning valley in the hills. And that's just what it is. It's a little valley in a hill.
Which is, from my experience, quite a bit of Pennsylvania.
Exactly, Western Pennsylvania. So it's about like 25, 30 minutes from Pittsburgh.
Interesting. Very cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. Ash's Antics says hi. I think I was trying to read this. I think we have another question. Oh, no, we got to go one more up here. All right. One more. There we go. All right. Everything has a signature key frequency.
It's correct.
It's like if you have bugs, etc., or medical problems. You find the frequency of the particular problem, then you match it. There's a strange thing only with sound that if you match the frequency, it will cancel out that frequency out, therefore destroying the problem or bugs, etc., with the third frequency, which is created by matching the problem frequency. So two frequencies create a resonance frequency, which creates a symbiotic sympathy frequency, which is created. There we go.
I love it. Love it.
Anything to add to that?
He is absolutely correct. And I love that he was able to share that to go. And again, that's another deep dive, which is very important that you often miss in these weekend classes or doing a weekend on YouTube. Yeah. So this is why it's important to really know and study your craft. Yeah. I've been studying this for about 5 years. And in college, I did music theory as well. So it's always been a part of my life, music.
Do you not that wasn't explained, but for anybody who didn't understand the breakdown of that, do you want to kind of explain what he's talking about there?
So I have to remember what you just read, but it was basically like it canceling out. So, if you're having medical issues or things like that, you can find that frequency that will match it. I think that kind of sums it up with it. But yeah, he's correct on that. So it's so important with sound as well. It really helps in the healing process if you allow it to. If someone's going to come to the table and they're super negative and they're one of these doubters, then it's not going to work. They're just not going to be open to it. So I think that's the key with that as well, is to have an open mind for these things, because you can work on somebody for 2 hours, and if they're not open for it, it's not going to be received.
I wonder, going back to the binaural beats, is this kind of like what we're talking about here? Like if you have a problem, like was suggested there, and you match the first frequency to that problem, like a very low vibrational energy kind of depression or something, and you start with that frequency, and then if you play another higher vibrational to raise the vibration, your body's going to intone somewhere in the middle there, correct?
Sure. Yeah. That's basically in a nutshell what he's saying. Yeah. So like if I have a client laying on the floor, I can put the sound bowls in their hands, on their belly, between their legs, around them, and I can move in a certain way. There's like a masculine and a feminine way. You can move in like that figure 8 and get that frequency raised up, and they may feel sensations. Some feel nothing, some feel real relaxed. I had mentioned that someone felt something like, wow, my teeth are starting to hurt, but I make that aware of it. Like as we go through this, you may feel things in the body. I'll ask them to place their hand on their chest and lift their finger up if it's a frequency that bothers them and makes them feel uncomfortable. My daughter had a concussion a few years ago, and it really changed. She was working in a restaurant, and she put her head down, and someone opened kind of a steel oven door or something. She came up, really whacked herself, and she's so sensitive to sound now that she has to wear the headphones on her. So certain frequencies that I play just drive her. She can't do it. I do ASMR on Insight Timer, and when I do ASMR, she'll text me like, that sounds killing me. And it's just kind of like taking a feather, and she's like, ah, and it just affects her a different way, but someone might feel this is calming. So it's respecting the person with it as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I could listen to you do that the whole rest of the interview.
Really calming, and they're like, this is driving me crazy. And it's just so interesting, like even tapping.
Okay.
I did something with the tuning forks, and I had 3 or 4 people. I love it. And then this one woman's like, oh my God, this is killing me. And so it just depends. Certain people don't like certain sounds, and you have to honor that. So when I do the ASMR, I'll say, hey, listen, start your volume up low and build up to it. If it's something that doesn't resonate with you, these triggers are played for about 1 to 3 minutes. And if it doesn't sound good, leave. Watch one of our other beautiful teachers and then hop back in, because the sounds will change.
Absolutely. I never let's talk about that for a little bit here, the ASMR, because growing up, this is really weird. Certain people would tell stories or have conversations with you or stuff, and it would just send tingles through your entire brain, through my entire body, and I could listen to this. I don't care what they're talking about, but I could listen to them talk forever, and I never understood what that was. And one day I'm scrolling through TikTok, doom scrolling as we do. And I came across this girl doing like just talking, and she did that to me. And I'm like, okay, so now here's this video that is specifically to this. And this is where I learned what ASM, oh my gosh, that was. So can you talk a little bit more about that? Like what is going on there?
So it's autonomous sensory meridian response. It's those goosebumps, the hair raising, the tingling sensations. Maybe as a child, and they don't have the chalkboards anymore, but the fingers down the chalkboard, right? And there's this X marks the spot, a circle and a dot, and things like that just get you into that like, ooh, sensation. White noise, right? Like I sleep with a fan on, and I don't even have to have the fan on me. I just need to have that noise. So certain people have that kind of liking to this. There's even like food. You can like chew and they just something about it. It's just so individualized as well. Because for me, like, oh, I couldn't listen to that, but I was watching Olympia's, which is like energy work, and I was watching the ASMR, and it was just her hitting somebody with some plants, you know, and that was so calming. I think she had Rue or something, and she was hitting the person, and it was from Ecuador, and it was beautiful, spiritual cleansing. And then they drink their drink and spit it on them, and it's like, oh my goodness. And somehow that made me fall asleep.
Yeah. It's really weird because, like, you know, like, it's definitely not all the same. Like,
Right.
I've listened to several different people do ASMR, and there's so far I've only found the one that actually like triggers my whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, and the rest of them I'm like, nah, no, you're just
Yeah.
annoying me. Because
Yeah,
I
there's one guy that does chaos ones. He's like, woo, you do visuals, you can do lights. I do like the lights on the fingers. I do one where I actually have a yellow submarine, and I play the yellow submarine song. I turn all the lights off, and we have the little submarine go, and the little diver that comes down. And so there's all different unique ways to doing it. Yeah, and it's just a preference of individuals. They love the rain stick. I have these shells that I also use for the sound bath. I play that as well. Tuning forks on it as well. Sound bowls. But even just tapping, like hair brushing, the feather that I just used, you know, ice. Tapping on anything and all.
There's a lot going on over here again.
All right.
Try and catch up on it.
You're getting schooled.
Well, let me ask you this before I get into Techno Shaman here again. Do you think then that this ASMR is triggering like the same as the singing bowls? Is it a certain vibration or frequency, or is it a sound response? Like you said, like you get triggered. Is it a triggering response in a good way, or vice versa there as well?
I mean, it could be, but like for myself, I would think it would be an emotional trigger as well. You know, like the sound of rain, you know, from when I was a kid, or a certain sound that reminded you from your childhood. Or, you know, like certainly we wouldn't want to hear a car horn, right? So that would be jolting you, or a sound from your alarm, right? It's like after a while, it jolts the body awake. So sound really does, you know, stay with the body. You just think of when you hear a song and it just triggers you back to a memory, right? Whether it's your first dance or something from your childhood, or even commercials. Like I remembered a commercial from like years ago of a department store that's no longer here, but man, I can remember that commercial. There was a McDonald's commercial, Big Mac, filet of fish, quarter pounder French fries, icy Coke, thick shake, sundaes, apple pie. You deserve a break today at McDonald's, and the cup ran away with the spoon. How I still remember that.
Yeah, I was thinking about this the whole show as well, and I'll mention it here. Like the whole triggering sound. I had a roommate for a while, and they were notorious for having their phone alarm on and then not answering it. So they'd be asleep, and their phone would just be going. Oh, and to this day, I cannot stand that sound. It just makes me want to punch someone because
it's like like you should have a panic attack or be triggered by a person. You can be triggered by a sound as well. Yeah.
Interesting. We are coming up here on the end of the hour here with our time with our guest here. If you guys have any last minute questions, throw them in the comments section and we will get to them before we head out. Trying to figure out back here where this starts. We'll start with this and just kind of work our way down. You can also use crystals to alter an energetic pattern. If you have a crystal in your pocket, it will alter your etheric auric field. field.
Correct.
I'm assuming it's-
Absolutely. You can also take crystals and you can imbue them with the Reiki energy as well. You can place them within your palms and set that intention. So oftentimes during a session, I'll give it to a client to hold during the session. Another thing that actually, this is taking it off by storm in TikTok here that my daughter made. You can use these copper rings here that you put on your palms to help enhance the Reiki energy. So just by placing it here, and I can feel it. You can feel the vibration of it, as you practice. So you may see people on TikTok moving like this, on there to help with the energy. Yeah. But going back to the crystals, but I keep them nearby and just holding and placing it on there. And you can use that during a Reiki session, have them all around, even a yoga session as well, and placing that intention. Crystal Reiki is another one I do as well. And that teach you to go a little bit deeper into just certain meditations, certain activities with it. And again, you can do this with any Reiki that you have as long as you set the intention. Don't feel you have to get all these trainings and different specialities. It is universal energy life force.
Going on off of, oops, he jumped down. All right, here we go. That's exactly was going to be my next question. So we're going to jump down to this. Techno Shaman says, do you do remote attunement or working?
I do. I teach online and in person. I am trained in 12 different systems of Reiki, everything from the Azui to Holy Fire to Corona, Crystal, Kid, Violet Flame. Kundalini is a great one as well. That we have Kundalini yoga as well, which is awakens that snake within you. Amaria, which is, and I'm not saying that these are better than others, but there's certain frequencies. So like a Zui would be right here, Holy Fire here, Corona, and then Amaria is way up. I also have it where you work with the angels, so you work with the archangels. And so it's a way to, if Azui Reiki, I loved it, but it wasn't that for me. So when I had Holy Fire, it was life-changing for me, and that helped me. And then I just kept wanting more. So it just depends on the person. Azui might be perfect for you, but if you feel like you need a little bit more, there's other systems out there as well. But Amaria, in my experience, has been like the highest. But it's like going on a roller coaster. You and I, in Techno Shaman, there can be on a roller coaster. You might get off of it and said, this is nothing. I've had far better. He might be so excited and I might be sick off in the bushes, with it. It just depends on the body. So this is really a modality you need to feel. You really need to feel. So, me describing it to you, it's going to be completely different. I could say, oh my goodness, Holy Fire was life-changing. And you could it's nothing. I felt that energy before. I need something more. Or, whoa, this is too much for me. No, thank you. So it just depends.
Techno Shaman says, nice, you have a very good solid base, Tracy.
Thank you.
Absolutely. No, that's really interesting. And that was one of the other, I'm sorry, we're running over now, and I hope that's okay. We're when you were talking about using different sounds and the triggering and stuff, like when you do like in-person classes and stuff, that's got to be kind of, I don't want to say like frustrating for you, but like trying to find a note or a frequency that attunes to everyone there has got to be a very, very big challenge.
Yes. And so I live in an area where it is heavily military based, and many of them do have trauma. So say like the sound of fireworks could trigger somebody. So you want to be able to hold space for them. And like I said, the example with my husband is that, and he's military as well, that sound for him, he didn't enjoy that. My daughter didn't enjoy that. So those are two examples of individuals who didn't like a particular sound, but I thought was lovely and reminded me of that storybook, of Cinderella, turn the page, right? It brought great memories to me. And so I usually judge it by that one person in the room with the most trauma. And if they begin to put that finger up, I use something like Koshi chimes or a rain stick to settle that down with it, so they know they're safe. And this just reminder, you are safe. Everything's okay. There's no need to worry. And even there's been a time I had to come over and just be by that student. And so it's just keeping an eye, and the same thing in yoga as well. You just need to keep an eye on your students.
Absolutely. You mentioned like the fireworks there, and I think like in-person fireworks are very loud and like traumatizing, especially for like military and stuff. I know that. But thinking about that, like when you hear them recorded and they have that kind of muffled that I would find very soothing and relaxing.
Sure.
I don't like them in person. So
Yes. And even like sounds of a bell. When we do recordings, when people do recordings on Insight Timer, they ask you, is there bells? Is there any kind of sudden noises? If someone has some type of trauma, anything like that can be triggering to them. So it's being very mindful. So on the questionnaires, you usually always sign a waiver. And on the waiver, it asks that, is there anything that, do you like loud sounds? Do you like, are you okay with perfumes? Some people are bothered by perfumes. So that's letting them know that, listen, I got your back. It's okay. You'll never be put in an uncomfortable or unsafe situation. And that's part of helping them with their trauma, because they're coming for healing. They're coming for relaxation. And if me whacking the the gong, that could be unsettling. Hearing the boom, it might jolt their nervous system.
There are a lot of good comments and stuff here. Oh my gosh. I got two more and then we're done here with this. So
okay,
we're gonna wrap this up because we could go on forever. So really quick, the sound of tapping is great for folks scared of needles.
Beautiful. Now, does he mean tapping EFT, emotional freedom technique, or is he, I guess, tapping?
I think that was back during the ASMR stuff that
okay. Yes, so tapping. Yeah, I incorporate the tapping. This is where you're saying affirmations as you tap certain parts of the body, but yeah, tapping for ASMR and that as well. Yeah, some people, they do it on the phone where they're tapping.
Nope.
Yeah.
And then my last comment here. Thank you so much, Techno Shaman, for all your input as well on the show today. The sound, a sound can lock and unlock things and items in people. Have you found that, like, as far as like traumatic events, can you help them kind of like what do we call it? Hypnosis and stuff. Can sound be used to help get beyond triggered responses?
You can. I mean, all of these modalities, yoga, Reiki, sound can do that as well. Is he meaning dimensions? Like I'm thinking like astral projection.
I'm not sure. People to even dimensions, sound, frequency, vibration, electric energy from this.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, if it's a trauma, it just depends on what that trauma is, and if people
Astral.
are open. That's what I felt he was going with. So yeah, if someone can do that, I know when I've had experiences and things of that, I've kind of astral project into different things, and like in Holy Fire Reiki and Corona and Animal Reiki and Kids Reiki, you have an experience. It's called a meditation, and it guides you through the elements and things like that. And so through those experiences, I have done that as well, where I've gone into different time periods and things like that and seen different things. And so certainly sound can help you as a vehicle to that. I often see things in dreams. So there's multiple different ways. Exactly. Yeah.
And remote viewing also.
Yeah. So it just depends. I've had experiences personally as a student myself, where I'll go completely asleep, but the subconscious never sleeps. And I'm like, I missed it all. And then others that I have these magical things with dragons and seeing Jesus. And one time I was in the audience of Abraham Lincoln giving his, speech. So amazing things can happen, if you allow it, if you're open to it.
Interesting. We'll put that later. Okay. So oops, there you go. Techno Shaman, if you ever want to come on the show and be a guest yourself, shoot me an email at wisconsincaps@gmail.com and we will have you on.
There you go. He's got two offers.
There you go. you just incorporated yourself onto Tracy's show and mine. So.
And that's fine too. And that just shows you the layers of it, because, if you're able to focus an entire episode on that sound frequency, you're able to really dive deep into it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, this has been absolutely fabulous, and I thank you so much for your time and
Thank you.
with it. And before we leave, in the show notes is a link to all of your books on Amazon for anybody that's interested. There are many more that we didn't cover on today's show. There's like 8 or 9 of them, I think, on there. You can get them all on there, as well as Ready, Set Reiki is the link on there, and the Feather Sisters, which we didn't talk about as well. Anything else that you'd like to promote? Anything you got coming up? Any events that you're going to be at or anything?
Well, I teach online. If you're unavailable to be in person, I teach online on Feather Sister Wellness, where I offer yoga classes and Reiki sessions. I have a training coming up in the Money Reiki for July, and I am just enjoying all the connections that I'm making here in El Paso. And thank you so much for allowing me to be on your show. And when you find these modalities, when you reach out to them, if it's not for you, keep going. You'll find your Goldilocks. You'll find your just right. And and continue. Just keep working at it. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Very, very, very last question. How do you get in contact with Tracy? Techno Shaman would like to know.
One, you can Google my name, Tracy Searight, and lots of things will come up, from books to events. I'm on Insight Timer. I'm on, that's what you can get me for free. Insight Timer on free. I do ASMR every Fridays. I'll be doing Reiki on there as well. And you can find me on YouTube, feathersister.com, and you can reach out to me at tracysearight@gmail.com. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. So I think I'm all over, except for X, I guess, or Twitter.
Awesome. That is it. I promise. All right. Thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate it. I know we had this scheduled originally and had to reschedule it, so I'm glad that we finally had you back on, and it's been an absolutely fascinating interview. Thank you so much for your time.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Take care.
You have a great day. All right, guys, that is our show for this week. Thank you all so much, and thank you, Techno Shaman, as well, for all of your comments and questions throughout the show. We are going to be back next week, obviously. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening, and hope you guys learned a lot and enjoyed the show. Until next week, guys, remember, we are all part of the paranormal spectrum. Take care, be well, and I'll see you next week.
You see